You blame yourself for having a disability. You blame yourself for having mental illnesses. You hide your mental illnesses. They want you to blame yourself for the fact that when you get 4 hours of sleep, guess what? Anxiety and panic attacks are probably going to heighten. When you don't get enough sleep, guess what? Your amygdala is in overdrive. Our brains are here to keep us alive, not to make us happy. Having me in that place of seeking validation from that system will leave me disempowered. I'm looking to be seen by a system that is based on the very fact that I am invisible. It only sees and recognizes me when I shed and cut off parts of myself that make me me. This past weekend, there was a disabilities conference at Stanford. It's called SMATI. Or the weekend before, whenever this is getting released, if all goes according to plan. The Medicine Alliance for Disability, Inclusion, and Equity. It's the only conference, I believe, on disability within medicine, as far as medical training goes. And it's quite interesting because the medical model of disability says something is wrong with you. We need to fix you. There's a problem. If anybody knows anything about medicine as a tool for industrialization, and industrialization being a tool for capitalism, and capitalism being a tool for exploitation, everybody has to look the same in order to be productive. So you're being judged on your ability to participate in capitalism, which means that if you have anything that impairs you from being productive, you are no longer worth anything to society, and therefore your life does not matter. Hence why disabled people are largely marginalized in society. They are not producing in the way that capital requires production and exploitation, and they're not able to participate in that. Not by choice, by measure of the fact that they do not fit what capitalism deems as exploitable. So they're tossed aside. Society then says something is wrong with you. The social model of disability, which is the model that I don't know how we ever, and society's largely designed around the medical model, but the social model says something about society is wrong for you to value people's lives according to their productivity measures. Society is the problem if certain people cannot navigate society. So say somebody is using a wheelchair. It's not their fault for breaking their legs. It's society's fault for not providing ramps so they can access class. I say this because mental disabilities and disabilities that are not visible are largely not understood on purpose. It relies on us blaming ourselves. Oh yeah, you're the problem. I said, no, I'm not going to convince you that I'm good enough. I know I'm good enough. I'm not going to convince you to let me in. Oh, I'm so lucky to be here. When I refused to keep hating myself so that they could keep harming me, when I accepted, I'm the shit. You're lucky to have me here. And that goes for everyone, by the way. This profession and this training process has a way of convincing us that we don't know anything about ourselves, that somehow they know what's best for us, that somehow third-party resources are worse or aren't really, like, we all know we use third-party resources. Everybody knows third-party resources are where it's at. Medical education has revolutionized so much. But we play along and we pretend and we play stupid and we play dumb because, you just do what they say. You don't want to ruffle feathers. And that works up to a certain extent. And it works, again, the closer and the better you are at performing whiteness. There is no amount of pretending and performing whiteness I could have done that would have protected me in the long run. That would not have come at the cost of my literal life. I would have had to lose my life to survive. That is not possible. I would have had to lose my life in order to be a good student. I'm good as long as I'm willing to harm myself and to hate myself. That's what they wanted. They were okay with that outcome. With the level of torture I was put under, deliberate torture, that was even acknowledged by someone who had been involved in all of this. There was a team of people who had been supporting me, and one of them was like, "Do you not see what they're doing to you?" I was like, and this person said, "They're trying to get rid of you." Every student who has been diagnosed with autism, they've dismissed. They're putting you under so much stress that you give up. They said this to me when I was in tears. They were like, "You're already breaking down. Look at you. You're already breaking down." I didn't see what was being done to me. I didn't see that I was being triangulated and manipulated because everybody presents a different face. The people who are supposedly helping you are also the people who are directing the other it's good cop, bad cop. It's really freaking weird. And they preyed on students who are gullible, because if I had a physician parent or a dean for a parent, they wouldn't try that. They know what's up. They would have helped me hire a lawyer or something. I would have been more protected. But they prey on students who they know are first gen, who don't know how the system works. And they press on your neck. And somehow I said, I'm opting out. I made it through. I figured it out and I made it through. And that's when they got really, really pissed and started the dismissal process and started trying to build a case out of nothing. There were no grounds. They had to pull things out of thin air. Things that I was told were confidential, things that I was told would not count against me. They make the rules, they change the rules, and they did what they did. So disability, right? First of all, we slap the label of disability onto you. Well, I realize it's not me who's disabled, it's you who's dysfunctional. Step one. Step two.
We'll claim that this isn't a desirable trait, and that will make those people feel inferior.
We're going to rely on the fact that you are less than and make you understand that it's your fault. You are less than. And I go, I feel secure within myself. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm very proudly neurodivergent, whatever, right? By the way, I never shared my diagnosis with them, but I'm sure they figured it out somehow because they all talk to each other and nothing's confidential. But they figured it out. And I was doing my best to accommodate myself by having instructors individually helping me out. And they were happy to help. And I'm not the only one who arranges for things to be done separately. This happens all the time. But no amount of me convincing them that I was good enough would have been enough. No amount of me working hard. I did all the things. No amount of that will be enough because the goalpost keeps shifting. The goal is for you to never feel like you're doing enough. It's built into the dynamics of a cult for members to never feel like they're doing enough. At its most extreme, religious cults use the idea of you will find out what your reward is when you die in heaven. But ultimately, the goal is labor exploitation, to get you to do as much as possible, to generate as much labor capital for the cult as you can, to give as much of yourself as possible. And they keep moving the goalposts. They keep moving the goalposts. If you ever feel like you're doing a good job, then you're not going to push yourself. I was listening to this cult deprogrammer talk about it yesterday, and he said that this is not something that people do because they're stupid or dumb. No. Some of the smartest people fall for cult dynamics. And I was like, oh, yeah, right. The whole profession is structured like a cult. And it's because people want validation and acceptance. That is a core need of every human being. To be seen, to be accepted, to feel like they matter and they're making a difference in the world. There's nothing wrong with that. What medical school does is it exploits these young, very enthusiastic minds. These hearts that are so pure and full of love and hope. The more you think you're inching closer to the bar keeps moving. It's never enough. You get through medical school residency, you get through residency, fellowship, you get through fellowship, attending, you get through attending. Never enough. And at any point, we could just take away your license and you're done. At any point, we could kick you out of medical school and now you're in a bunch of debt. No guarantees. We'll bend the rules to get the outcome we desire because we are in power. We control you. Okay. So the last point that she made is this point of being a canary in a coal mine. If you can convince the canary to be so focused on itself that it doesn't hear the mines going off, then you've won. If you're able to stigmatize and discredit these people who have these disabilities, for example, oh, you're just bitter because you got kicked out, oh, you didn't try hard enough, everything I've talked about, if these people who are experiencing the system for what it is and are willing to call it out, because again, I do not have that ability to understand the in-betweens and read between the lines and all the bullshit that keeps the dysfunction alive, I see what it is and I call it what it is. If you can get everybody to see me as a crazy person and to see me as someone who's just bitter with a disability, which we've established stems from the fact that I am not able to conform to dysfunctional dynamics within society. If that is disabling, I do not understand what that says about society. If inability to lie, inability to read minds, inability to pretend that things are not what they are is what counts as a disability, I don't know what we're doing here. Anyways, if you're able to pathologize those traits, even if I realize what is going on and I start telling people, you've discredited me by making me look crazy, right?
If these people feel empowered and whole within themselves, then they will start looking outward at the world around them. They'll start to see what we're doing and speak out about what they see. And if enough of them do this, they might start to wake people up. And that would threaten the entire system.
Thank you, trauma healing, because there's a version of me, a younger version of me, that was so eager for the world to understand me, for the world to see me, for the world to get it. I invested so much of my time trying to explain oppression to people. And that is the goal, to have me in that place of explaining, trying to convince, trying to change the school, improve the curriculum. Having me in that place of trying to gain validation from a system that is based on the fact that I will never be validated will leave me disempowered. I am looking to somebody to give me what they do not have to give me. I'm looking to be seen by a system that is based on the very fact that I am invisible. It does not have eyes to see me. There are no eyes. It has no eye. It is blind to my existence as a complete whole human being. It only sees and recognizes me when I shed and cut off parts of myself that make me me. When I take on another person's identity. When I pretend and perform to be someone else, that is when I'm seen, that is when I'm rewarded. So if you can convince me to be so focused on trying to, if only I can do this, it will finally see and get it, then it has me where it wants me. I am not trusting my reality, one. I'm believing that, two, things will change one day. I'm also believing that at some point, if I do enough, I will finally gain that approval. All of which are false. If I refuse that, then it can say, well, this diagnosis makes you discredited. Thank you, psychiatry, as a weapon of state violence, right? How come this isn't talked about more? Because it's still being used as a weapon today. The field that deals with categorizing minds as useful, obsolete, or even knowing how to put people in a mental state of torture to where they're not okay. The number of times they did things hoping that I would act out is insane. And knowing what my history is, knowing what my mental history is, knowing what my health history is, health records are not confidential. They can see it all. And they keep tabs on certain students. Violence. So if I can be discredited to the public as, oh, just a crazy person with a disability, just a crazy autistic person, just a crazy person with blah, 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 whatever, history of blah, 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 whatever, then everything I'm saying is just throw that away. They're not making any sense. Don't listen. It serves the greater public, I guess. It serves the people who are still within the confines of this oppressive system to discredit things that will possibly get them to question anything about medicine and the medical training that they're receiving. Because what does it do for me as a medical student to start to see the ways in which this place has me fucked up if I don't have to? If I'm still being cushioned by it, if I'm performing whiteness enough to the point where everything's dandy, why would I want to rock that boat? This brings me to my conclusion. I was dangerous to the system, and in this video she calls it being a whistleblower of the matrix.
Think of these people as whistleblowers, like a canary in a coal mine.
I have never watched that movie, but my understanding is I'm able to see the program that is running. I'm able to get to it faster. Identities that disable me from performing cis white maleness are able to get me to sense the temperature of the water quicker than other people, right? It's a frog where the water temperature is being raised. Now imagine that frog had some mutation where they're able to sense when the temperature is increasing. Even though it's very, very, very slowly increasing, they're so sensitive that they can tell. And they start screaming and telling the other frogs, your best option is to kill the freaking frog. Kill that one frog. Kill the frog that's alerting everybody else the fact that the temperature is changing. I am that frog. And unluckily for them, I also gained some mutations over the course of medical school. I healed a lot of what kept me in this loop of hating myself. If I'm choosing status, money, whatever it is, and this isn't judgment at all, this is from a place of compassion. If I've been told that these are the things that make me me, and that not being in medicine, despite how miserable it's making me, is the worst thing that could ever happen to me, there's a degree of self-abandonment it takes for me to accept that's the best I can do. And there's a reason why. It's a sure path to survival. That is so fair. I don't say that with judgment. Point I was making is that over the course of medical school, I gained resistance to the machine that is being tortured. I was no longer seeking validation at the hands of authority figures, in the hands of medicine. I was able to see these people as my equal. I didn't see them as this infallible gods that could not be questioned. I saw them as traumatized people who enact trauma on other people. As I came to understand the nature of my own trauma, I started to see it in the world around me. And I started to see ways in which these things are very normalized. That allowed me to navigate this system in a way that was self-respecting. Self-respect is not compatible with exploitation. Knowing that I have these sensitivities, that I'm able to feel these things, is not good for business. If they let me just continue to question things and they continue to accommodate me, they would have to start doing that for other students. Like she said, you may wake up other people. You may start to help other people see that this is not real. All of these things we're being forced to accept, they're truly defective. You're not the only one. And in the culture of high secrecy, where everybody is putting their best straight white man impression forward, it's not good for business. It relies on, you don't know who's who. You don't know if the person who's sitting next to you is truly who they say they are. It relies on an atmosphere of unsafety. Everybody is presenting a version of themselves that is as close to a straight white man as possible. And that is just so soul killing. It's so sad. As I learn what it means to be a whistleblower, as I learn what it means to be a whistleblower of the Matrix, as I sit here and talk about these things, as I share these perspectives, I am so grateful that I got to know myself when I did. I'm so grateful I took the steps I took when I got dismissed to start to understand, uncover, and unlearn the ways I had taken on what would have been a lifetime sentence of doing my best white man impression and ultimately losing myself, losing my life in the process. I'm really grateful you all are here. And I hope that you find care. I'm really grateful that I met myself when I did, that I have the luxury and the privilege of being here to tell the tale and to help folks who are interested understand exactly what it is that they're going through. I believe every single one of us suffers from the exploitation and catastrophe that is this system founded on trauma and exclusion that continues to traumatize and exclude and reward us for being willing to participate in our own exploitation. I'm very privileged. I'm very lucky. I'm not advocating for anybody to drop out of medical school. That is not the goal. That is not my message. My hope is that you feel a little less alone. And in moments of difficulty and sadness, in moments of anger that may or may not be expressed, in moments where you feel alienated, in the quiet of your room, of your soul, of wherever it is where you can drop the mask and truly see yourself and acknowledge your feelings, that you know you're not alone. I hope you continue to take care of yourselves. I hope you allow those who care for you to take care of you. I'm going to take a deep breath. So with boundless heart, should one cherish all living things, radiating kindness over the entire world, upwards towards the sky, downwards towards the depths, omitting none. I will talk to you soon. Thank you for being here. Bye.